Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu Coffee Break German. Ich bin Mark.
Mein Name ist Thomas.
And today we have a special episode of Coffee Break German for you.
Das stimmt. Los geht's.
Also, wie geht's dir, Thomas?
Oh, gut. Danke, Marc. Wie geht's dir?
Sehr, sehr, sehr gut. Aber ich brauche meinen Kaffee.
Ja, es ist so ein bisschen spät am Tag, das stimmt. Aber ich bin gespannt, um was unsere spezielle Episode heute geht.
Yeah, this is indeed a special episode of the Coffee Break German podcast, but also we're doing it as a video podcast as well today. But what we thought we would do is talk through, in a sense, the Coffee Break German story, how it all came about, why we decided to start this, and talk about all the range of courses and the resources that we have available.
Sounds like a good idea. There's quite a lot to talk about, and I guess lots of people are interested how it all started and like what we did and who was involved when, and maybe there's some, I don't know, will you share any secret insights about
maybe some Coffee Break German secrets? Who knows?
No, sounds good. So where did it start?
Where did it start? Well, way back in 2006, which feels like decades ago. It really does.
That's a long time ago.
I was still had a day job, and it so happened that podcasting had come on the scene, and it was still quite niche. No one was really doing much podcasting, but I thought it's the perfect opportunity for language learning because, this idea of ongoing episodes where you can listen and you can pause or you can take as long as you want to teach something. I thought this is perfect for language learning.
Sounds good. What language did you start with?
We started with Spanish. So it so happened that in my day job, a colleague's daughter wanted to learn Spanish. And I know you're smiling because you happen to know that person too. So that was Cara.
Yes.
And Cara, now your wife.
Yeah.
So Cara wanted to learn Spanish, and she wanted to learn Spanish because she was going to Spain. She wanted to use Spanish and so on. So we thought, why not do a podcast where we teach basic Spanish, and Cara was the learner, I was the teacher, and we just thought, well, this might work. And sure enough, it did work.
And I'm very thankful that you taught her Spanish because I did meet her in Spain.
Excellent. So yeah, that was 2006. Then we added French after that. And then we added German, I think 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because it was the half year between my bachelor and my master. And I came over to visit Cara after we've met in Spain.
Okay.
After my bachelor, because I did an Erasmus year and she did a teaching assistant year. And then I came over, and then I think you approached her if she knows any German speakers. And she's like, by the way.
I remember that. We were in a cafe in Royal Exchange Square in Glasgow having a coffee, and she was telling me about her new German-speaking boyfriend. And I was like, oh, just so happens that we're thinking about doing a Coffee Break German. So yeah, you were brought on the team, and we started Coffee Break German way back then. And in that situation, the tables were turned because I was not a German speaker. Still, I'm not really a German speaker. I'm still learning. But I was going to be the learner, and you were going to be our native speaker teacher for Coffee Break German Level 1.
That's true. It was also very interesting for me because it's the first time I ever worked in that, industry or field. Like I've never recorded anything. And I know I sat still in Cara's room and recorded some stuff on the laptop to send you as an audio sample if my voice would be suitable. I remember that. And then it was really cool having all the setup and then just having the chance to talk through lots of different topics of the German language.
And we were recording in my home studio back in the day through the back of the house. We recorded 30 lessons there, and then we did something exciting.
Oh, it's cool because it was also time for me to go back to Innsbruck to start my master's, and then you came out to Innsbruck, and we recorded the last 10 lessons in Innsbruck in different situations with different people, which was really cool because it took the recording from that studio setup to running around the streets with like the microphone and the windbreak and the cameras and just approaching random people at bus stations and like talking to the guy in the hotel, which was really fun.
I remember it well because by the time we get to lesson 31 to 40 in level 1, the idea is that what we've learned, very much transactional language and the kind of topics that you need when you're traveling.
Exactly.
We want to put them into context, and we practice them further with these natural conversations, which we recorded in Innsbruck in that situation.
Yeah. And I think it worked really well, because we had lessons before on like how to check into a hotel and how to, figure out schedules for buses and trains. And then we were there on the spot trying to make sense of it. And you could really put your German to the test.
Even visiting the pharmacy, I remember that. So with level 1 then, in a sense, one of the other reasons we were doing this whole kind of history of Coffee Break German podcast today is that we often asked, where should I begin as a German learner? Because we've got this huge range of courses, and we've got hundreds of episodes of the podcast and so on. And learners very often say, well, where do I start? Which series, which season, which course do I start with? So I thought it would be useful to talk through all of these courses. And do look in the description if you're watching the video version of this, because we've got some time codes, and you can click on those time codes and move ahead to like the intermediate content and so on. But getting back to level 1, level 1, as we said, is very much for absolute beginners. I was a complete beginner when we started doing level 1. And we do begin with the most basic phrases, the greetings, the
Guten Morgen,
and so on. But we also look at transactional language, meeting people, traveling around, finding your way around the town and so on. But I think for me with German, one of the most important things is understanding why words are the way they are.
Yeah.
So with Coffee Break, we never just say, here's a phrase, learn the phrase, use the phrase. There is 0 point in that, if you ask me. What we always wanted to do is from the very beginning, start to think about, okay, it's ein Kaffee, but if you are ordering your coffee, you're going to have to say, ich hätte gern einen Kaffee. Why? And from the I remember that was like lesson 3 or lesson 4 or something like that. So we, even from that early stage, started to talk about how German works. And German works differently from English, let's be honest.
Yeah, very much.
So we need to think about, from a grammatical point of view, why is that a different case? It's ultimately the accusative, if I'm not mistaken.
Sehr gut, ja, richtig.
I've learned something. But from that early stage, we started to approach the grammar and the patterns of the language in such a way that it's still very friendly, very informal and very chatty, but it's not hiding away from the grammar. And I think that's what always has made Coffee Break a bit different from other things. You get many very grammatical things, or you get many things that are just
phrases. You learn the phrase.
Yeah. But my mind always says, but why? Why is it that?
I want to know it all. And I think that's also why we had the grammar guru who really focused on these aspects. And as you progress throughout the course, you are kind of starting to connect the dots. It's like, oh, it's accusative here. I've seen that somewhere else before. Exactly. And I recognize those endings. And then it kind of comes together as you go through the lessons.
It's a really nice aspect of level 1 where we do have Kirsten, our grammar guru. And Kirsten was a German learner. She was an advanced German learner who had gone through the process of learning German. So she had understood it from that point of view, from the point of view of a learner, and was able to convey that in really clear explanations of the grammar. We also had a cultural correspondent, Julia.
Yeah, which I've still never met.
You've never met?
No.
I met up with Julia about a month ago. I was in Berlin, and I met her and her lovely family. It was so nice to meet them all. She says hello.
That's nice. Yeah, I think one day, I think we should meet up and talk about all the German stuff.
Absolutely. So that's Coffee Break German level 1. Now, at the end of level 1, you had to start your master's.
Exactly. I went
Innsbruck.
Back to Innsbruck and then had another 2 years there. Yeah. But you didn't stop. You kept.
We didn't stop.
Du hast weiter Deutsch gelernt.
Weiter Deutsch gelernt mit Andrea.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do a second level of German, and we worked with Andrea, who was absolutely wonderful, and we really enjoyed working with Andrea for not just level 2, but lots of other courses from there onwards. So with level 2, we kind of take things further in a grammatical sense, and it's still very chatty, very friendly and so on. But with level 2, we're getting into things in more detail, learning more about tenses, learning more about cases, learning more about word order and so on.
And really, like, I've worked on level 2 afterwards with like workbooks and like exercises. And yeah, it really takes that first stop of transactional language to then talking about the imperfect and the perfect and all the future tense and covering all the tenses and going into much more detail about the cases as well and how you can use subordinate clauses in different ways. And it gets a bit more, nitty gritty.
We get into the nitty gritty of the language in level 2, definitely. But it's the natural follow on from level 1. So if you've completed level 1, then level 2 really is the next stage. Very often learners ask us about where our courses sit in reference to the CEFR. So the Common European Framework of Reference for language learning. And that is a kind of ladder of language learning going from A1, complete beginners, A2, upper beginner, then B1, which would be lower intermediate, B2, upper intermediate, C1, advanced, C2, pretty much native, basically. And where you see yourself on that level, on that kind of ladder, it's helpful to correlate that to our Coffee Break German courses. And with level 1, it's very much A1 and A2. But with level 2, we're starting to enter B1.
I think so too.
It is important to see as well, though, that if you do level 2, it does not mean that you are a B1 learner of German, because the fact is that you can be perhaps B1 in your reading or your comprehension, but you might not necessarily be B1 in your spoken German, or perhaps you're really confident in speaking, but your written German is not as good. So you can be different levels in different skills, and that's what I always feel. My understanding in German is much higher than my ability to produce German. Weil es schwierig ist.
That's schwierig. I also think it really depends how you learned the language, or if you were living in that country, your understanding is probably really good and your spoken is probably also okay. But maybe you struggle with the written parts or the grammar parts, because or I, for example, when I lived in Spain, I just started firing things out and didn't always get every ending right or every grammar term. But if you learn a lot with books, you're probably very good on the grammar part and the written part, but you struggle when people just talk to you, or you just spontaneously need to make up sentences. So I think it depends how you learn and also what type of learner you are. So it's hard to correlate.
I think I'm the type of learner who doesn't like making mistakes, and that's not a good type of learner to be. We were talking earlier with Francesca about Coffee Break Italian, and there's this lovely phrase in Italian, sbagliando si impara, which means by making mistakes, you learn. And I think that's so important for language learning.
You do.
So level 2, like level 1, both are courses. So they have lesson notes. They have video versions of the audio lessons where you see the words on screen of the screen of your device. And we also have the bonus audio materials, which feature translation challenges where we're asking you to work out how to say something based on what you've learned.
I always found very helpful because you just put what you learned in the lesson into practice, or you just have to come up with it and create those sentences, thinking about, where does my prefix go?
And while the materials themselves don't have speaking elements, the translation challenges are putting you into that situation of what would I say if I had to say, I am meeting Thomas in the park with whatever. I don't know.
Treffe Thomas im Park.
Im Park. So it's dative there because we're not going into the park.
Yeah, no. That's the location where we're meeting.
Okay. Hi. Okay. So all of these additional materials that come with the course, these are all available on the Coffee Break Academy. And of course, we'll put some links down below for all of the courses that you need.
Good idea.
Then we move on, because when we get to a certain level, I always think that when you're learning a language, at the beginning you feel, I'm moving forward. Yeah, you're kind of making these steps all the time, and you've got a really positive forward movement in your learning. But then you come to a point where you can't keep going forward as keep taking those big steps forward all the time. I always think it's a little bit like if you like going walks in the forest and everything, don't you, with the family?
I do.
So imagine the situation. You're walking through a path in the forest and you've got thick trees on either side and it's quite dark and a little bit scary down these paths.
Okay.
But you want to stick to the path, so you keep moving forward. And that's like level 1 and level 2, or like A1, A2 onwards. But then there comes a point at the end of that path when you reach this beautiful meadow. And imagine you're in the Sound of Music, okay? And you're Julie Andrews and the hills that are coming alive with the sound of music. But you get to this beautiful meadow out the forest, and there are little paths down to the stream. There are paths up to a little house. There are lots of these different places that you can go and discover things.
So much to explore, so much to discover.
And that's that intermediate level. And I think this intermediate level is such a brilliant place to be, because no matter what you do, you're always moving forward a little bit. So you can get all of this additional material, all of this additional learning, and every little bit you learn is moving you forward just a little bit more. That's how I like to think of it anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I get it, because like at the start, you maybe learn about the perfect tense, and it's a huge thing. You can suddenly talk about things that are in the past, and you make that step forward, and it feels like a massive progression. But then you've kind of covered all those basic, all those like necessary elements of a language to speak some things. But then you go off and you do a course that really focuses on your reading or really on your grammar. And then you do something really about understanding and speaking, and you make progress in all these individual areas that all help you. But it's not these milestones where you can take off, oh, I've done that now.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly why we've created so many different courses at this level, this intermediate level. Over the years, we've added lots of different types of courses, different resources to help learners at that level get lots of input, get lots of new content, new ideas, and new vocabulary as well. Because I think, you might be able to use the perfect tense. So you might be able to talk about with datives and accusatives and so on. But if you don't know the words,
you still can't make the sentence.
So you need to learn those additional words. So we've got this huge range of content at that level, and perhaps it would be useful to talk through all those different elements.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of different products. So we have the travel diaries. I really think are great, which also Andrea did.
Yeah.
And they just take you on the route. I wasn't involved, but I love them.
Both a physical route, because you're actually going on a journey virtually. Of course, we did the travel diaries at a time that it was impossible to travel. We'll not go there. But we thought, well, why don't we do some virtual travel? And still to this day, learners love learning with the travel diaries, and taking these virtual journeys. So the first season of the travel diaries was a journey through the Alps.
The Alpenstraße,
yeah. And that was a family that we were following in a camper van going through. Sounds familiar to us.
One day I will do that route, not just virtually, but like physically.
And then the second season we were following an elderly couple on a river cruise.
They were on a cruise, yes. They were doing, I think, like the anniversary cruise.
And it was down the Rhine and then the Danube, I think.
Yeah. So again, lots of different countries they come through.
And lots of culture as well, because I think that's another really important aspect. Anyone who's learning a language is interested in the cultures associated with the various places where that language is spoken. So I think that's another really important aspect of the language. So the travel diaries, again, there are 2 courses available of the travel diaries. And in each course, we follow the story of the journey with the family or the couple. And in each episode, little things happen and things go wrong, things get fixed and so on. But of course, it's a great opportunity to expand your vocabulary, and we provide all that support that you need to work through.
Vocabulary list, explanations, the lesson notes, And you pick up so many things that you come across before, like level 1 and level 2.
Exactly.
And then again, you go over them, it kind of reminds you of what you've learned.
Of course.
That all makes sense.
The key consolidation point, that consolidating
consolidation is the word that I was looking
for. So another way to consolidate, and slightly different in this sense, is our reading club. The reading club is a series of 52 texts delivered over the course of a year. So you sign up today, and then you get one of those texts every day for the year. And sorry, not every day.
For the week. Yes.
That would be a bit much every day. So a weekly text, and with the text, there's an audio version. There are exercises and bonus materials as well, helping you. And these are cultural texts, again, about interesting things to do with areas involving the German-speaking areas.
I know sometimes they covered, I think there was one about Erich Kästner, for example, like covering a famous author, then about different locations in Germany, about different festive days and like
food.
Kind of, lots of food is actually
traditions,
covered.
music, all sorts of things. Yeah.
And it's really nice because you cover all these different aspects of culture, and not just for Germany, but for Austria and Switzerland as well. So you get a good insight into the world, the German-speaking world.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So that is our reading club. So we've talked about travel diaries, reading club. Something else that's linked to culture is the magazine.
Yes. Also, again, 2 seasons.
Yeah. And so the magazine is where we take one cultural aspect in each episode. It's a little higher level than the reading club, but the cultural text is, again, about the one that comes to mind is Tatort, the famous German language series.
Jeden Sonntag.
Jeden Sonntag, yes. So every single Sunday night, people in German homes all over the German-speaking world settle down to watch Tatort. It's like a crime scene. Yeah.
From that.
And so it's a German institution, and therefore that's the excellent.
Need to talk about it.
For me, I think the most important aspect of something like the magazine is that the topics that are covered in the magazine are what any native speaker grows up knowing.
Yeah.
So it means that as a learner, I am aware of these things. And then when I hear someone referring to Tatort, I know it's not just the crime series. I know it's a Sunday night tradition, and I know all the implications of that, and therefore it's something I recognise and I can talk about when I'm talking to native speakers.
And it does give you that huge advantage, or if you go to Germany, maybe with like a German-speaking friend, and there's a bigger group, and they all talk about things, that you pick up these bits where you're like, oh yeah, I've read about this before, I've heard about this before, and I know a little bit, or I know enough to like join the conversation. Yeah. And also it really helps you to understand humor.
Yeah.
Because like once you have that background knowledge, you pick up those jokes and you're like, oh, that refers to that I've heard in the magazine season 2, episode 3. Absolutely.
And recently we were doing a kind of trivia quiz, and one of the questions was about the 4 animals, I think.
Die Bremer Stadtmusikanten.
So the town musicians of Bremen. So there are 4 animals that they all stand on top of one another to chase away thieves.
Yes, they make such a terrible noise, and like they scare the other way. Do you remember them?
Oh, there was a donkey.
Esel, genau.
Esel. There was a dog.
Genau. Hund.
Was there a chicken?
Yeah, a cockerel. Yeah.
Cockerel, yeah.
Cockel.
And I don't know what the other one was. A cat.
I was just about to say other famous farm animal, die Katze.
Okay, so 4 animals. Yeah, I've learned something on the Coffee Break magazine. And so the magazine course features, of course, the texts. There are additional materials, so the lesson notes. There are vocabulary lists, exercises, and so on, all that go along with that to help you get more out of each episode of the magazine.
Yeah. So would you say these are kind of like the 3 core products at that like intermediate level where people can choose if they just want a text or like a story that continues all these individual insights into culture?
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit for everybody.
And I would say these are kind of B1 level, mostly. The Reading Club A2, B1, Travel Diaries A2, B1, but magazine, I think, a little higher level, so B1, maybe pushing into B2. And at a similar level, I would say there's one other thing that we've not mentioned yet, and that is scenes from the Coffee Break German Café.
Yes, which is still coming out
still
at the
coming
moment.
Out, yeah.
Season 2.
So you've been very much involved in scenes.
Yes, it was Oliveira who wrote all the texts.
That's right, yeah.
But then I'm doing the discussions with you, and I wrote like lots of the exercises and the spotlight videos, which I think is a really nice addition and a new addition to our courses.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I really enjoyed doing because it just gives you the time to narrow down on one thing you want to explain it in a little bit more detail.
Yeah. So Scenes from the Coffee Break German Café is a lovely course. It's based around what it says on the tin. Scenes from the Coffee Break German Café. So we've got this idea of a cafe that is in a park, and it's Erna's Cafe. And basically, there are stories that happen. We see the customers that come into the cafe. We see the regulars. We see new customers that come in. And we really feel part of that whole cafe idea and little slices of life in this cafe in each episode. I love it.
It is really nice because some of the people appear again and again. And we have Erna, who obviously owns the cafe, but then the narrator who kind of like comments everything and keeps you involved in what's happening. And then sometimes some of the episodes are very cheery and it's like a big birthday celebration in the cafe, and then some of them are a little bit sadder, and then it's just all aspects of life are covered in these coffee scenes.
And of course, Erna is always ready with warm words of wisdom and a cake.
Yes, I think she's like the Inbegriff, I would say.
Inbegriff.
Yeah, she like embodies that idea of somebody who has his own coffee shop and chats with everybody and is helpful and knows what's going on and always has an open ear for her customers.
Yeah. So as Thomas said, there are a whole range of lots of additional materials for scenes. We have, of course, the lesson notes. We have vocabulary and exercises. But these spotlight videos where we take one of the expressions in the main text of the episode and then go into that in greater detail and really pick it apart and look at how we can use that phrase in other situations.
Ganz genau.
And
sometimes it's a grammar expression or like a grammatical construction that we focus on, and sometimes it's just one word but with lots of different meanings. So in the spotlight video we have the time to go through all these meanings,
of course,
while maybe in the discussion we only mention what it means in this context but don't have time to mention all the other things.
Yeah. So scenes from the Coffee Break German Café, 2 seasons. There's also a bundle version of both seasons. But if you'll enjoy stories and enjoy learning through stories, then that's an excellent course for you. Maybe there's just one other course to mention.
Let's just keep more things.
I know, so many things. And we recorded this years ago with Julia, actually, from Coffee Break German Level 1, our cultural correspondent. And it's called A Flavor of German.
Yeah, they're all these. That's also nice because it really makes you sound more like a native, or makes you understand what natives say, because it's about all these idioms and they're always centered on a certain topic.
That's right. Yeah. So we had an episode about colors, for example, or expressions about being tired, like Hundemüde, and things like that. So different idioms, I guess, as Thomas said, to help you sound more German, and but of course presented with examples and with context there. So that's A Flavor of German. Again, you'll find that on the Coffee Break Academy along with all of our other series.
It's the kind of things where then if you drop that in a conversation, native speaker will go, "Oh,
impressed!
How do you know that?"
Yeah, it's that, and as a learner, you feel, oh yes. Oh dear. So all of those courses, we mentioned level 1, level 2, we've mentioned travel diaries, the reading club, the magazine, scenes from the Coffee Break German Café, and A Flavor of German. All of these are available on our main website, Coffee Break Academy, where you can do these courses. You can take the courses. They involve individual, like single one-off payments, and you can take the courses there. But we have something else too for this level, a little lower and a little higher too. And
covers everything.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool.
That is our Coffee Break TV platform.
Yes, and that's also the moment when I kind of started working.
That's right.
For you again, is when that idea was just like in den Kinderschuhen.
Yeah.
and it's child shoes.
So we started talking about that 4.5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, we started creating the first different formats, the first different test recordings, experimented what would work.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started back, and I would say it's like what I was really involved apart from scenes, or what I was most involved in since I came back, and I really enjoyed, because it gives you so many different opportunities with the different formats to talk about all different kinds of aspects of the language.
Yeah. So our Coffee Break TV platform is available on our website at coffeebreaktv.com, but it's also available in an app. So we have our own Coffee Break TV app. And the idea is it's a library of video lessons, hundreds of video lessons, where you basically open the app or go on the website and think, what kind of mood am I
Today
in
I
today?
feel like
Yeah.
a wee translation challenge. I want to test my German.
Yeah. And, how long do you have? I've got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And there is something for you. So if you fancy that 5-minute translation challenge, boom, there's a 5-minute translation challenge for you. If you fancy a 10-minute reading text or something where you're discovering the world, we've got a discovery video where you'll be able to find out something interesting about the world using your German and practicing your German comprehension.
I've just got a comment today because we have one discovery video about a famous dragon, and I think it's in a theme park. And today somebody commented, it's like, oh, I'm so proud that you included my town in the discovery because I am from here and I've seen the dragon many times and it really is impressive. So I was like, oh, that's so nice. Like first-hand eyewitness of how great the dragon really is.
Fantastic. So there are really a huge number of formats within Coffee Break TV. We have, as you said, translation challenges, comprehension challenges. We've got the postcards.
Yes.
Where we're identifying a mystery location. We have
the SIP videos.
The SIP videos, yeah. So SIP stands for Study, Investigation, Practice. So we study a particular grammar point, we investigate it further, and then we put it into practice with some translations or some other exercises.
Exactly.
And all of this, basically, as I say, you've got your app or you've got the website, you just decide what I want to learn today, and boom, you are learning within seconds.
Exactly. And I think one of the best things is that you can there's so many different ways of filtering because you can maybe do a postcard, which is definitely more on the entertainment side as well, because you have to guess the location. There's not just language in there. And you're like, oh, I feel like something more lighthearted where I have like more chat and I still learn something, but I also have that element of guessing. So you filter for like type of video, postcard, but then you can also filter by like grammatical topics. So you can say like, oh, I really want to learn more about the present perfect. Yeah. So you can filter by that. And then you have maybe a reading text about that.
Exactly.
And then if you really, really feel like diving deep down into the German grammar, you open one of these SIP videos and then you know everything there is about a certain topic. It really goes like there's nothing left to talk about.
and these videos also cover a variety of levels. So there are videos for not total beginners, but the sort of A2 level.
Yep.
Then videos for B1 students and also B2 students. So we've got videos about the Konjunktiv.
Konjunktiv. Eins und zwei.
Eins und zwei. Lots of content there on Coffee Break TV. One of my favorites, we have to talk about Step by Step.
Yeah.
Tell us about Step by Step.
Yes, because when we started, all the formats we created were video, sometimes us on camera, sometimes slides, but it was always something that you needed to see the screen you were watching on your laptop, on your iPhone. But then somebody, don't know who it was, had the genius idea that what about if people want to learn a language and don't watch something, just listen to it while they do something else. Yeah. And that was how Step by Step was created, because now you can listen to a German episode and we talk about some cultural things, some grammar things. There's a whole variety to these mini short sections that we do. And again, there's a 5-minute Step by Step that you might do if you just have to hoover the house quickly. And then there's like a 15-minute Step by Step if you go for a walk through the park. Yeah. So they come in different lengths, again, in different levels, depending on where you are on your German learning journey. And it's our first like audio only format.
Yeah, it's important to say that obviously since the very beginning of Coffee Break German, we've created audio content that you can listen to while you're on a walk or so. But the idea of Step by Step specifically is that it's interactive. And the idea is that we're leaving you space to think about things. And for example, if one of the activities might be, okay, you're out for a walk, look around you. What are you seeing? For example, I am seeing that there's a tree over there, or I am in a meadow with juliandras in the hills or whatever. So the kind of things, give us an example of the kind of thing that you would see.
I should have mentioned that, yeah. Like there's always space for you to take part in those lessons, because we maybe talk about a relative clause. And then as I like, oh, I'm out here and I can say like, der Baum, den ich sehe, ist grün. And then it's like, now, look around you, see if you see something, and then give a little bit more detail by creating the relative clause. And then the learner has the time to create that sentence. Yeah. And then we talk about maybe another example then, and we move on to a different topic. And then that time they listen to something and have to maybe translate it or pick something out, or we go through different pieces of vocab where they then have time to form a sentence with that vocabulary that they just learned.
Yeah. And all of these video types, so the Step by Step, the postcards, the SIP, all of this kind of content is part of the Coffee Break TV subscription. So it's a little different to our academy courses because the Coffee Break TV has a subscription. It's a monthly subscription or an annual subscription. And for that subscription, you get access to all of the German videos. There's also a subscription that you can get for all languages, and that's French, German, Italian, Spanish, and English. But if you're focused on German, obviously, then you would be probably interested in the German subscription. And it's the perfect way to keep your learning going. And the other thing to mention is our daily email, because if you're thinking, oh, there are hundreds of videos, I don't know which one to do today. Well, we send you an email with a suggested lesson. So open your email, click the lesson, opens in the app, you're learning German. That's it.
Improved your German on the day.
Exactly. It's as straightforward as that. So that's Coffee Break TV. And for intermediate learners and upper beginner intermediate learners.
Yeah, I think it really covers a wide range of abilities and that element of choice that you have. And also with a monthly subscription, I think if you have like a couple of months where you have more time, you can do it. And then if you know you're away for a month, then you can also stop it and then come back to it. I think it gives you a lot of flexibility to keep learning whenever it fits you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else?
Yeah, because we've talked about beginners, we've talked about lower intermediate, we've talked about upper intermediate, but we've not talked
have
about
something
advanced.
for everybody. Yeah, wir haben was für jeden.
So what have we forgotten? Level 3.
Level 3.
So tell us about level 3.
It is like level 2 or level 1 or level 2, but it really focuses on very specific aspects of German. And again, like level 2, we're going more into the grammar bit. We are talking about certain prepositions that are always used with, for example, the genitive. We're talking about passive constructions, about the passive past, about the conjunctive 1 and 2, like these kind of topics that are niche and advanced.
Yeah.
And again, it was Andrea guiding us through all of that. And then I think I am back for that. I was actually part of it because for the last 10 episodes, we didn't go to Innsbruck, but we had a very nice story, which again saw all that we've learned, all these advanced grammatical construction put into context by going through that.
Yeah. It was
these
great,
chapters.
Great fun. And I have to say, I have to be honest, quite challenging. Like it was really pushing me.
You did very well. I got translating these chapters at the end that I got asked.
I think
Andrea did well with teaching. She was an awesome teacher.
Absolutely. But if you're at that level, if you're looking for a real challenge with your German and you're at that B2 level and you want to push on further, then Coffee Break German level 3 is definitely what we would recommend for you. And again, links below to all of these courses. There's one thing that we've not mentioned.
Yes.
And we've got a screen over here, and we can see ourselves here. And it just caught my eye there. We have
now that you mention it, yes,
our Coffee Break German 50 German Coffee Breaks, our book. We've got this in French, Italian, German, Spanish, English, Swedish, and soon to be in Chinese and Scottish Gaelic.
That's the one I'm waiting for.
Okay, but the idea of this is that it's a collection of 5-minute, 10-minute, and 15-minute activities, similar to the club, similar to Coffee Break TV.
But you can hold it in your hands.
You can hold it in your hands. So it's if you fancy some time away from a screen, and let's face it, that is a very useful thing to do. And so whatever time you've got, these are activities. So here, jemandem die Daumen drücken. So idiomatically speaking, do you know how to say good luck in German? You might already have come across viel Glück or viel Erfolg. But in this activity, we're going to look at some other ways to wish someone good luck. And so there are exercises that you can complete with vocabulary and, of course, the answer sections too. Now, 50 German Coffee Breaks, like all our books, is available in all good bookstores.
I've seen many.
And many. And do you know what I do when we go into a bookstore? I turn them to face the front in the shelf. Maybe I shouldn't admit to that, but, let's face it, these are brilliant books. So.
For the benefit of everyone.
Did I tell you that I saw this in Dussmann, my favourite bookshop in Berlin?
No. Oh, wow.
50 German Coffee Breaks in Dussmann, a table with lots of copies of it. And I was like, ooh, that's ours.
Wow, cool.
This one and the English one and the Italian one as well. Lots of Italian learners.
Okay.
Really
so they're really available everywhere in the world.
Available everywhere. So everywhere where you get your books, also online, of course, you'll be able to order that online. But 50 German Coffee Breaks is another great way to take your coffee break and make your coffee break as enjoyable as it can be. Thomas.
Gibt's noch was?
Uh,
Haben wir über alles besprochen jetzt?
I think we have. I think we've covered all of the Coffee Break German resources. Of course, you can find out everything you need to know at coffeebreakgerman.com and with the coffeebreakacademy.com for all of the courses and coffeebreaktv.com for our Coffee Break TV platform there. Thomas, vielen Dank.
Danke, ich habe auch was gelernt. I think sometimes it's really nice and also makes us or me realize like how much stuff we've created and also then how it all ties together and how it all links. And sometimes nice to look back, whether you're creating stuff or you're learning a language.
Indeed. Now, I should say that if you look in the description of this episode, you might see a secret link, which just may, give you a little bit of a discount on some of our courses. So do check that out. But for now, vielen Dank, Thomas.
Danke, gerne.
Vielen Dank an euch.
Ja, auch fürs Zuschauen, fürs Zuhören. Und ich hoffe, es war interessant. Ja. Ich fand es interessant.
Ich auch.
Ja, super.
Also, bis zum nächsten Mal. We'll be back with a normal episode of Coffee Break German very soon. But for now, vielen Dank und bis bald.
Tschüss.